records I have. I love when people are like, what's this police one? I'm like, grandma, it's a sour cream. That's it. Just fancy, thinner sour cream.
It is, and how much do I miss the things that I had? And the answer is not much. Not much. I don't think about it all that much. You know, when I had to get new clothes for but you know, give me some jeans and t-shirts. I'm good most days of the week. You know, so.
Yeah, I don't have rush hour either.
We're still rebuilding, obviously.
Less than 25 minutes.
Actually, she was having some problems. Yeah, this is well, he even had
yeah, there's a lot.
Let me go back. So she was having these issues last winter. In February, we took her to Costa Rica, and she felt great. Just felt super good. We went to the Pacific Coast. We were at a resort that was
and then training shifts and things like that. He already messaged me this morning. He's like, hey, do you want to work tonight? So he's just trying to get it up. I'm like, nope. I don't, thank you.
Yeah. That's tough for her because she's so
we're double tomorrow, and I close everything.
Joseph, do you want us to walk out?
So he moved in with her dad and stepmom. We had the HVAC system cleaned out. We came back 3 days later. She was and this the HVAC system was dirty, but they said they didn't see any signs of it. But Jeff's just very sensitive to it. And so after a few more days, so we got her for several weeks while we figured out what that was. What we didn't realize, she got a little bit over the She's 8 hours a night. Realize that it's been a I mean, yes, that's vicious. It is slow going.
Well, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Shana Tova, 5786. Yeah, 5786. Wow. Good. Do I introduce Kathy?
No, it's Mary Monahan.
Oh, okay. Please turn off your cell phones. Okay, and where's Marty? Which way are we turning, Marty? Left. Left, thank you, I forgot. Thank you. Left. Okay, and Mary is... Please welcome our Vice President. Huh, Secretary? Secretary Mary Monahan, where is Mary? Raise your hand. Come on up, Mary. Give her a hand. Here she is, our secretary.
It's so wonderful to see everybody here, able to get together in person for the high holidays, and those streaming who aren't able to attend in person this morning. I come to the temple for the sense of community, knowing there are other people out there who share my interests and values, people to provide companionship. Every time I come in, people smile and say hello, even if they don't know me. It's nice to be able to attend high holiday services that feel genuine based on humanistic beliefs. We don't have to sit through and mouth things we don't really believe in, and instead we can focus on what's most meaningful to us in Jewish culture and in a humanistic worldview. But it's not just the high holidays where we get together. There are so many activities at the temple that there's something for almost everybody. We celebrate the holidays throughout the year, Friday night Shabbats, activities from mahjong to gardening to Sunday school, and special events from Super Supper to the Day of Service. This year, we have beautiful new streaming equipment and an updated sound system. We're looking forward to the future sustainability of our temple by not having to pay for outside streaming services each year when the high holidays roll around. So we've invested in our own new equipment. Gathering together in person is valuable, but we also want to be available for the people who can't make it in person. That's where streaming comes in. We also want everybody to be able to hear us, whether they're streaming or here in person. So we've updated our sound system. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes to make all of this happen. So much work to get equipment set up, ensure it's working properly, and monitoring our website. New streaming equipment, the sound system, and all of the other activities we do here cost money. This time of year is the perfect opportunity to consider donation to the temple. We want to have modern, working equipment for years to come to serve your needs. I hope you see the temple as I do, as a valuable community where you want to be. If you have ideas for something else you want to see here that we don't have, then let us know. Consider giving now for the future of our temple. I wish the best to all of you and your loved ones during this high holiday season.
Thank you so much, Mary. While Mary definitely deserves applause, I've sort of started a tradition here where we're not going to applaud for sermons and that kind of thing. I like the feeling of being in shul. So again, welcome to everyone. We have many participants today, drawn from our leadership, from our congregation, Dorit Ben-Gal, Jennifer Kurland, Karen Strickhart, and Rabbi Miriam Jaris. Felicia Goldberg will once again sound the shofar for us. And Joseph Palazzolo, of course, our music director, who brings us beautiful music, not just on the holidays, but throughout the year. But he doesn't always have this crew of talented musicians by his side, and I want to welcome and thank you as well for the beautiful music you're providing to enhance our holiday experience. We're going to begin on page 1 as we enjoy some words of welcome. We have come together to welcome the new year, to celebrate its promise, to ponder our responsibilities. New beginnings bring new opportunities for new and deeper relationships. For the larger vision they present, let us preserve joyous and worthy memories, and let us carry forward our noblest hopes to enrich and uplift in the year which now begins. Let us learn from experience the lessons of the Jewish past, the lessons of the human story, remaining aware of the newer challenges before us. Let us greet the new year with renewed strength and hope, responding to the mystery and the glory of life, setting forth with confidence in our abilities to make the plans and perform the deeds to help make this truly a Shana Tova. May we bless ourselves with a good and sweet year.
Wow, what a good crowd we have. Look. I love it. Anyway, today is an opportunity for hope and for reflection. Life is a complex weaving of past and future, memory and anticipation. A pause at the calendar's returning helps us reflect on where we have been in the past year and where we hope to be in the year ahead. This is the season. We gather in this season to feel our connections to each other and to Jews in every corner of the world. Our attachment transcends time and space, uniting us by emotion, memory, and community. We are part of the Jewish people, and we are a congregation of Humanistic Judaism. This is the place. In this place, we are a fellowship of ideas and of family connections. We face the new year together, knowing that we are stronger with each other than we are alone. The bond we feel with each other is profound, for we all face this new beginning together. This is the moment. Let us use this moment to prepare ourselves with courage and conviction for the year that begins today. We are ready for the journey ahead. Let's go.
Life is a joyous thing, ever and ever.
Rosh Hashanah comes with a great gift.
It is the opportunity to begin again.
No one has sunk so low that change is beyond reach.
The old year is gone. We have closed the ledger.
We are free to open the book of life that we are writing to a brand new page.
Nothing blots it. No indiscretions blemish it.
Slowly we lift the pen to once again record our life.
And only we can direct the pen.
If we have fallen into the habit of blot and smudges, it is harder to write clear and fine words and phrases. But we are invited to try, and we are challenged to succeed.
If I had my life to live over, if I had known then what I know now.
Rosh Hashanah comes with a great gift, that of beginning again.
We know now what we did not know then.
What will we do with the knowledge?
How will we use the gift?
Unetanei tokef, the inspiration of this day. Surely our deeds do not pass away unnoticed, unrecorded. With every word and every deed, we write our book of life. Freely we choose, and what we have chosen to become stands in judgment over what we may yet hope to be. We are free. We are responsible. Therefore, it may be said that our lives pass under review. Who shall be shattered by quakes of social change, and who plagued by oppression?
Who shall find contentment, and who shall wander in discontent?
Who shall be poor in spirit? Who rich in tranquility?
Who shall be brought low with futility? And who shall be exalted through fulfillment?
Yeah.
That is the right thing to do. Nazim Tzavta, Tzedakah v'chesed. Nazim Tzavta, Tzedakah v'chesed, Yenoshienu. Nazim Tzavta, Tzedakah v'chesed. Nazim Tzavta, Tzedakah v'chesed, Yenoshienu. Chayavim Anah, Chayavim Anah, Chayavim Anah, Chayavim Anah, Chayavim Anachnu l'taher libenu, ki yesh לנו
What do you hear? Sounds fill the air above us, but we do not listen to them all. We select. We decide which sound we will take to heart, which sounds will move us to respond.
What do you really care to hear?
A baby crying, a sound of beauty, a warning, a word of love, a cry for help. We can shut them out of our lives if we wish, deciding they are only noise.
What will we hear? What will cause us to turn, to renew a part of life which too quickly passes by?
Have we learned to hear the voices of the elders?
Or the opinions of our youth?
Have we learned to hear the sounds that we ourselves utter?
Or do we mock our own words with gossip and vain promises?
Do we hear the sounds of chaos and creation in our own lives?
In hearing, do we love one another more?
The summons to hear these words is the message of the shofar. On Rosh Hashanah, we hear it anew.
Throughout the ages, the shofar sound had many meanings. Today it calls out to remind us that time does not stand still and that it is never too late. It calls to remind us that life must be renewed. It is an alarm to wake us from that slumber and stupor which shut out concern for others and ourselves.
Blessed are those who hear the sound
of the shofar and take it to heart.
The sound of the plain ram's horn is not created by mechanical means, but by the breath of life. The sound of the shofar is a wordless chant. It is a cry from us to each other, an act completed only when someone listens.
This is not difficult. True listening demands our attention and our hearts.
Do we hear the shofar sound? Does it call on us to examine our lives?
They have eyes, but see not. Ears they have, but they hear not.
So wrote the psalmist about lifeless idols. Let us live our lives so that these words could never be applied to us. The sounds about us, when properly heard, taken to heart, have great power. They lead us to compassion. Let us turn to these sounds, hearing. Let us turn to each other, caring.
May our lives reflect that we have heard ourselves and each other.
The sounds of the shofar bind us together, uniting us wholeheartedly. If only all of us would listen. If only all of us would hear.
Listen to the sounds, for not to hear is not to care.
Welcome Felicia Goldberg to the bima to sound our shofar for us this morning. Tekiah. Shvarim. Torah. Tekiah Gedolah. Tale told by Rabbi Chaim of Zentz. A person was lost in the forest, wandering for many days and nights, unable to find a way out. Finally, another person came into view. My friend, I am lost. I've been trying to find the way for many days and nights, but I cannot. Can you show me the way? The newcomer replied, I too am lost, yet I can tell you this, do not go the way I have gone. That way does not lead anywhere. Let us search for the way together. Since it is unlikely that we will be out of the woods this year, let this among all needs be our desire, that in traveling the road to we know not where, we go side by side, hand in hand, heart to heart, alone yet together, and so lighten our steps and brighten our days. May we all enjoy this year's journey.
Shana Tova. It is never too late. The last word has not been spoken. The last sentence has not been written. The final verdict is not in. It is never too late to change my mind, my direction, to say no to the past and yes to the future, to offer remorse, to ask and give forgiveness. It is never too late to start over again, to feel again, to love again, to hope again. It is never too late to overcome despair, to turn sorrow into resolve and pain into purpose. It is never too late to alter my world, not by magic incantations or manipulations of the cards or deciphering the stars, but by opening myself to curative forces buried within, to hidden energies, the powers in my interior self. In sickness and in dying, it is never too late. Living, I teach. Dying, I teach. How I face pain and fear. Others observe me, children, adults, students of life and death, learn from my bearing, my posture, my philosophy.
Inclusive of all and rejecting of none, where love touches all lives like the warmth of the sun. No abuse and no hatred, no prisons of fear, as the sound of the shofar celebrate the new year. If we open our hearts to the love waiting there, we can have the power to heal our despair. If we open our eyes and see all people are kin, destruction will end and a new world If we open our hearts, if we open our eyes,
Peace. We seek peace, the most precious gift we can bestow upon ourselves. May we find the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. May our country strive to be a stronghold of peace and its advocate within its borders and among the nations. May contentment reign within its borders, health and happiness within its homes. May we strengthen the bonds of friendship among the inhabitants of all our lands, and may the love of humanity permeate every home and every heart. May we labor for righteousness, and in so doing, author a new book of life, blessing, and peace, for we alone are the source of peace.
In this community, where we find strength and common purpose, we turn our minds and hearts toward all those who need our love and support, those who are ill, those who suffer pain of the body or spirit, those who are lonely, those who have been wronged. May all who suffer know that they are not alone, that we are there. May they be healed quickly. May they experience a complete recovery, refuah shlema, the renewal of their bodies and the renewal of their spirits. As has become our custom over the past 2 years, we remember those who are suffering as hostages in Gaza, for today is the 718th day of their captivity. May those who continue there find the courage to carry on. May those who love them not despair of their return. May they soon emerge from their confinement whole in body and in spirit to know once again the embrace of loved ones.
Courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Shalom. Because in need of healing, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Shalom.
The second sounding of the shofar. May the sound of the shofar shatter our complacency. May the sound of the shofar remind us of our ability to change. May the sound of the shofar awaken us to our power to effect change in the world. May the sound of the shofar renew our commitment to creating peace in our homes, communities, and the world. And once again, I welcome Felicia Goldberg to the bima to sound the shofar for us on this New Year's Day. Tekiah.
When cherished ties are broken and the chain of love is shattered, only trust and the strength of friends can lighten the heaviness of the heart. At times, the pain of separation seems more than we can bear. But if we dwell too long on our loss, we embitter our hearts and harm ourselves and those about us. The psalmist said that in his affliction, he learned the law of life and death. And in truth, grief is a great teacher when it sends us back to serve and care for the living. We learn how to counsel and comfort those who, like ourselves, are bowed with sorrow. We learn when to keep silent in their presence and when a word will assure them of our love and concern. Thus, even when they are gone, the departed are with us, moving us to live as in their higher moments they themselves wish to live. We remember them now and always. They live in our hearts. They are an abiding presence.
Our thoughts turn to those who are no longer with us, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every people and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and all of those whom we have taken into our hearts with our own.
Say
If you can do so comfortably, please rise as together we recite our humanistic interpretation of Kaddish. Nit gadal v'nit kadash beruach ha'adam. Let us dignify and ennoble all people in the spirit of our shared humanity. Let us acclaim the preciousness of life. Let us show gratitude for life by approaching it with reverence. Let us embrace the whole world, even as we wrestle with its parts. Let us each, in our own way, take up our share in serving the world and seeking truth. May our commitment to life help us to strengthen healing of spirit and peace of mind. May peace and justice permeate and comfort the house of Israel and all those who dwell on earth. And let us say, Ken Yehi, may it be so. Please be seated. Joseph.
So this piece, this is special music, Corner of the Sky, comes from the musical Pippin, and it was written by Stephen Schwartz, Jewish, who also was famous, and Godspell, among other musicals.
Not such a Jewish show, Godspell, right?
Yeah, yeah, right.
Good music.
But this is Corner of the Sky with Pippin, who is actually the son of Charlemagne, but they take a few liberties with facts and stuff, is really searching for his meaning, sense of meaning in life. Corner of the Sky.
Everything has its season, everything has its time. Show me a reason and I'll soon show you a rhyme. Cats sit on the windowsill, children fit in the snow. Why do I feel I don't fit in anywhere I go? Rivers belong where they can ramble. Eagles belong where they can fly free. Gotta find my corner of the sky, the sky. Every man has his daydreams, every man has his goals. People like the way dreams have a sticking to the soul. Rain comes after thunder, winter comes after fall. Sometimes I think I'm not after anything at all. Rivers belong where they can ramble. Eagles belong where they can fly. I've got to be where my spirit can run free. Gotta find my corner of the sky, the sky. Maybe some misty day you'll awaken to find me gone, and far away you'll hear me singing to the dawn, and you'll wonder if I'm happy there, a little more than I've been, and the answers will come back to you like laughter on the wind. Rivers belong where they can ramble. Eagles belong where they can fly. I've got to be where my spirit can run free. Gotta find my corner, gotta find my corner, gotta find my corner of the sky.
Absolutely, we could applaud for our great musicians. Just don't applaud for sermons. Thank you all. Thank you so much. They're going to take a little break while I share my thoughts with you this morning. Last night when I spoke about Jewish peoplehood, Am Yisrael, I began by sharing you with a familiar story, one that had been shared with all of us by Elaine Fieldman, about how we're so often asked as humanistic Jews, why be so Jewish if you don't even believe in God? It's a great way to begin talking about belonging because, as I said last night, being Jewish has really never depended upon belief. It's always been about peoplehood, about family, collective memory, shared destiny. This morning, though, I want to turn our attention to a different aspect of that question. Because while rejecting supernatural ideas certainly has no bearing on our belonging to the Jewish people, our choice to live as humanistic Jews, well, that has a great deal to do with how we are Jewish. Now, other non-Orthodox Jewish movements, my colleagues, my friends, and the Reform, Conservative, other movements, well, they tend to avoid too many questions, too many discussions about what's out there, the supernatural. But the very basis of our movement insists that we be clear and confident and coherent in what we say, which is that we believe our lives are guided not by divine covenant, but by human reason, by human responsibility, by a concern for human dignity. And we believe this because for people like us, and we are maybe a unique group, this approach to Judaism is the most honest and certainly the most meaningful. But I believe it's also the most spiritually enriching. And today I want to explore that spiritual richness, what I describe as the spiritual gifts of humanistic Judaism. But before I get too far into that topic, and since God lies so much at the center of the challenges directed against humanistic Judaism, I want to begin there a little bit, on a broader scale than just our Jewish friends. Not long ago, I read an op-ed piece by the New York Times columnist Ross Douthat. It was accompanied by a clear and very bold headline, very confident, everyone should believe in God. His argument, made in earnest, is not unfamiliar to us. It usually goes something like this, and so does he. Religion, supernaturally based religion, let me be clear, is, they say, indispensable. Not just because it tells us what to believe, which it does, but because it tells us how to live. And even as they always go on to acknowledge its many failings, it is, they say, what keeps civilization from coming apart at the seams, from fraying. To sum up their argument, a world without God is a world adrift. Now, Douthat is a religious Catholic for whom accepting Jesus as Savior is the way to God. For most rabbis, though, there's another way, the concept of covenant, our brit, that gets us Jews there. There's so many other ideas as well among the various religions. But theological separation aside, what they all seem to hold in common is the assertion that those who do not accept the existence of a supernatural deity, who reject the transcendent realm, the eternal realm, the otherworldliness of it all, are missing something important, something essential. There is, as Douthat and so many others say, a God-shaped hole in our lives. About 20 plus years ago, there was a group of outspoken non-theists, the New Atheists they were called, who rose to prominence with some very robust, and I always thought very convincing arguments about the scientific improbability, as they said, of God. We hosted a number of them right here, most notably the renowned evolutionary biologist, Richard Dawkins, right in this building. These folks helped bring a lot of people into the humanistic fold. But of course there was a backlash, one that came with an argument that, to be honest with you, I'm not sure that most of the secular humanists were prepared to address. It went like this. Without God, we have no sense of purpose. Without God, we lose ties to community. Without God, we abandon hope when life becomes unbearable. And this is what I believe they meant when they talked about that God-shaped hole. This morning, though, I want to offer our response, the humanistic Jewish response, that too many secular humanists have avoided because they do not belong to communities like ours, because they do not explore what we explore together as a congregation, as a movement. We are more than mere secular humanists. We are, in the most important sense, spiritual humanists who have filled that so-called God-shaped hole with the human spirit, our potential, our values, our choices, our compassion, our responsibilities. Where they presume a whole, we see a clear response to reality. We must live in this world that, for all of its perfections, and there are plenty, is far more than enough to inspire the human spirit. Our abandonment of supernatural and magical explanations for our world has never left us with a God-shaped hole. It has rather bequeathed us the spiritual gift and mandate to meet our deep human need for meaning, for community, for hope, through our fully human power to create them for ourselves. On this Rosh Hashanah, I want to challenge us, as our movement does, to consider humanistic Judaism in this way, a spiritual movement, not through a sense of wonder for the spirit world, but rather through that belief that by accepting the world as it is, the human spirit can help us to face it every day of our lives. And this is because, as Rabbi Wein taught, probably my favorite quote, maybe my second favorite quote of his, it is always better to believe than to not believe. We simply cannot be defined by what we reject. We must be animated by the things that we affirm. That while we do not speak of God's will, we do speak of conscience. While we don't ask for divine forgiveness, we do seek to be better than we are. That while we may not hope for eternal reward, we do believe in the immortality of influence, in the legacy of our deeds, what we do on this earth, in the love we leave behind. And specifically as Jews, who possess a cultural heritage of questioning and challenging, of a unique historical perspective created by our own experience, and a wealth of rituals from which we can draw, we truly do believe. At some point, each of us made a decision, even those who were raised in our movement, to embrace humanistic Judaism. Many of us chose it because we experienced a slow unraveling of traditional ideas, including the idea that such a thing as divine justice in a world of suffering could exist. Many of us found ourselves simply constitutionally incapable of believing in supernatural and magical explanations of things. All of us, though, probably came to humanistic Judaism because we believed that there must be more to life than surrendering its meaning to an unknowable great beyond. The critics like Dothit believe, like some secularists themselves, that those of us who have no belief in a deity are nihilists, but that belief is absolutely incompatible with our kind of humanism. We refuse to fall into nihilism. We didn't trade reverence for emptiness, nor did we abandon meaning or morality or belonging. By placing our focus on the potential of the human spirit alone, we force ourselves to face the challenges of life by turning instead to our human capacity for reflection and rational thought, and what we can learn from human, and yes, for us, Jewish experience. In turn, the recognition of the ultimate responsibility defines our life's purposes. Everything that people seek in conventional religion is here. Doth it's not wrong that religion provides these things: moral grounding, communal purpose, pathways to navigate the uncertainties of life. And we do so in that human spiritual framework, not based on revelation, not based on Torah, but on our ability to reflect upon what we see around us. Not through submission to authority on high, you must do this, but through our freedom to do so. Freedom that is a gift of humanity's evolution. And I know sometimes it's hard to see this, but we have evolved from savagery to civilization. Among those critiques that I mentioned offered by Dothit and others are the ones that concern the future of our civilization, and specifically they speak of Western civilization. And I will tell you this, I share those concerns. I acknowledge that historically, religious reformations, any student of history will tell you this, well, they played a big part in inspiring the framework of freedom that we enjoy today. But that historical fact does not argue for continued dependence upon supernatural religion in order to sustain it. There are, as we well know, plenty of religions that are quite opposed, think of them, to the treasured values of Western civilization. It's not an assumption that because one participates in a religion that one will support this. They reject values such as democracy, religious freedom, political and human rights. No, what we need to strengthen in order to preserve these precious rights is a commitment to something called classical liberalism. That is the very underpinning of Western civilization itself. Classical liberalism is the tradition of thought that emerged in the Enlightenment centuries ago that changed everything. It began with an idea that was as radical as it was simple. Every human being is endowed with reason, with dignity, and rights by the sole criterion of being human. Now, it took us a long way to get there, but the idea is what launched that. Classical liberalism, even for religious types, teaches that truths must be revealed not just through revelation, though they do believe in revelation, but confirmed through inquiry, science. That authority over others should not be inherited or imposed, but earned and questioned, democracy. That conscience belongs to the individual, not to kings, not to priests, and certainly not to the mob. Key to all of these assertions, classical liberalism taught us that every society functions best when people are free to think, speak, gather, and believe according to their own convictions, so long as they do not harm others or deny those same freedoms to others. I bring these ideas to the table this morning not merely to refute claims by Dothit and others that without their type of religion, Western civilization is endangered. I offer these ideas to you because Humanistic Judaism itself was born of classical liberalism. It is just as surely the child of that philosophy as it is the child of traditional Judaism. In classical liberalism, we find our movement's spiritual roots. When Rabbi Wein offered this vision for a new kind of Jewish life, he did so with explicit inspiration from classical liberalism. He knew that it also spoke to something deeply Jewish. Why so many Jews have become supporters of classical liberalism, why the state that Jews founded is based upon the principle of classical liberalism. The value of argument, the necessity of dissent, the pursuit of justice, the refusal to bow to unjust power, and yes, whether it is divine or human. He knew that for Jews, the marketplace of ideas was always far more welcoming than the throne or the altar, that the freedom to question has always felt more Jewish than the demand to submit. Ours is not a tradition of submission. It's a tradition of learning. And our traditional Jewish emphasis on dignity emphasizes the worth of every individual. Humanistic Judaism aligns with the teaching of every Jewish movement I have ever encountered, which reminds us that each human being is made in pious language, but B'Tselem Elohim, in our translation, the image of something noble. Even those who no longer believe that that is God's image can embrace this idea. That just as humanity is the true author of its own story, the true hero of Jewish history, taught Rabbi Wein, is the Jewish people, not the God of Israel. On this ground of a distinctly Jewish take on classical liberalism, Rabbi Wein founded this movement around the very bold idea that Jews could live full, meaningful, moral, connected lives, not by appealing to all of what tradition told us was the authority that we should at least consult or interpret, but by appealing to our human and Jewish experience. In a sense, it was a revolution within a revolution. And just as classical liberalism gave rise to secular democracy, which we enjoy and support, Jews throughout the world enjoy and support it, Humanistic Judaism gave rise to secular, spiritually secular Judaism, one that is more than adequate to meet the spiritual challenges of our time. Because if Jewish experience has taught us anything, it is that there is no supernatural shield from life's chaos, and that if we want to face it realistically, we're going to have to do that together, honestly, and yes, with our heads held high. I will agree with Dafydd on one thing he says, maybe a few others as well, but this in particular. I believe that there is value in spiritual discipline. Now, don't let those words scare you. In our secular, human-centered, classically liberal religion of Humanistic Judaism, this simply means knowing how to turn to our beliefs, our ritual, our community, each other, following a path that requires no supernatural scaffolding, so that we may draw on an appreciation for what both our tradition and our philosophy, one that blesses reason and rationality, can offer us to make our lives and circumstances more meaningful, to make sense of this world we live in. So in the time I have remaining this morning, I want to explore just a few things that we can offer ourselves to consider the spiritual gifts offered by our religious approach. I know rabbis all over the place do this, right? So I took my opportunity, and I want to begin with the question of morality. As humanistic Jews, believing that morals and ethics do not come from a non-human source, try saying that 5 times, that they do not come from elsewhere, from outside of us, certainly does not mean that we are in any way morally unanchored. The opposite is true. When we accept that all moral guidance arises from conscience, reason, compassion, and very importantly, the lessons of human experience, of Jewish experience, of what we've learned from watching what we've done throughout history. Well, that's no less an acceptance of responsibility, both individually and collectively, than the myth of the people of Israel standing at Sinai. In fact, I think it's better. And that's because knowing that there is no higher power that will resolve ethical questions for us, we have to learn with the tensions that our world presents. We have to learn to disagree without disengaging. We study, we reflect, and ultimately we teach our children to take responsibility for their choices, not to avoid punishment from on high, but because they, like we, must be accountable to others around them. If anything, I believe this kind of ethics demands much more of us. Without a deity keeping score, it's left entirely to us to decide what kind of people we truly want to be, collectively and individually. And this is a certain kind of moral seriousness a gift of humanistic Judaism. This is why a godless Yom Kippur, which we'll observe next week, is more meaningful to us. For on that day and those leading from now until then, these 10 days of awe, we know that we will not, as tradition taught us, stand before the judge of creation. Rather, we will stand in judgment before one another. And as Rabbi Wein described it in a reading we had in last night's service, we will stand before the tribunal of our conscience, the consequences of our behavior. Last night we talked, as I mentioned, about the importance of belonging and how being Jewish connects us to our worldwide Jewish family. As I pointed out, Jews have always innately understood that community is not built by belief alone. Can I say that enough? If it were, Jewish history would certainly look very different. But Jews have always found a way to live together even when we disagreed about the most fundamental questions, and we always have. One of the greatest spiritual gifts of humanistic Judaism is how it simply makes honest that part of our history. Humanistic Judaism admits that Jews never bonded over that common belief in God, that it was family that joined us together, shared history, culture, memory, and celebrating life's passages together with joy, with music, with tradition, with reinvention. Humanistic Judaism honestly and explicitly recognizes this reality. And in a world where loneliness is one of the great spiritual afflictions of our time, humanistic Judaism treasures the real human connection that is a product not of godly covenant, but of our bonds to one another. Yet another gift of humanistic Judaism is the recognition that ritual matters to humans seeking belonging and meaning. Ritual. As long as we understand that the rituals we perform are not dependent upon some otherworldly belief. We're performing one right now, this very moment. We as humanistic Jews understand that Judaism has developed, it's evolved, that we don't follow rituals to appease heaven, but we do mark what matters because they give us opportunities to slow down. They give us moments to remember, to celebrate, to mourn, to transmit meaning across generations. What a gift is this? Humanistic Jews don't light holiday and Shabbat candles, as the prayer says, because Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, because he has sanctified us with his commandments and commanded us to light them. No, we light holiday and Shabbat candles because the idea of light in darkness holds great symbolic power. Humanistic Jews don't gather at this time of year to ask that we be inscribed in the book of life. We gather to engage in this ritual opportunity to reflect upon the book of lives that we ourselves are writing every day. By the way, my Kol Nidre sermon is about just that. I think about my daughter, who will be married at the beginning of November, and I think about how we're going to gather around a chuppah and break a glass and drink wine and say blessings. Well, we don't choose as humanistic Jews to do these things, nor do we choose to observe yard sites or celebrate our children's coming of age, a recent bat mitzvah in our room. Not because of a covenant. We do things because our humanity is enriched by these gifts, too, of humanistic Judaism, of belonging. Our rituals are not sacred because they're divine. They are sacred because they are ours, and sacred they are. Above all of these gifts, though, there is one gift of humanistic Judaism that is perhaps its greatest. And I've mentioned it before, and I want to approach our close with this. It's meaning. Meaning, to make meaning of the world. People speak about this all the time. What is the meaning of this life? The real world, this world, can be breathtaking. The love we feel for our children, the grief we carry for those we've lost, the awe we feel, whether at the edge of the Grand Canyon or some other spectacular vision of nature below a starry sky. All of this is necessary to nourishing our humanity and building a coherent meaning for life itself. None of it requires a supernatural explanation. In fact, it may very well be those who believe in life eternal who have a hole in their existence. Rejecting reality is not usually thought of as a good coping mechanism. We who know that life is finite also know that we are not getting another chance at it. This, I would challenge the so-called believers, as if we're not, is what makes life truly meaningful. It means embracing what we have, the spirit of humanity's ability to create beauty, goodness, truth, connections right here, right now. Now, when we turn away from these traditional concepts of God, there are things we leave behind, that promise of eternal life. We can't imagine that suffering is part of a divine plan, which I think leads to its own complications as you try to figure that out. After all, human beings have long explained away tragedy by appealing to mystery, rewarding themselves with the idea that justice will finally be waiting on some other plane of existence. For us, humanistic Jews, to turn our backs on these ideas, well, these were not small departures. Most of the people I know find comfort in these ideas. It offers reassurance that there is a reason for everything, even if we are too ignorant to know what that is. That there's someone, somewhere, in control of all this, that someone, somewhere will help make sense of it. This is where Jewish experience and human experience both kick in to tell us the truth. Because we, as a people, we as the entirety of humanity, have lived long enough, have written down our history for enough years to know that the world does not reward the good, nor does it punish the wicked. That earthquakes, cancer, war, injustice do not ask permission. That the innocent suffer, and yes, the guilty often go free. And this is what we lose when we leave behind the God of tradition. That illusion. Oh, everything happens for a reason. When one door closes, a window opens, whatever nonsense they say. But what we gain in return is clarity and courage. Because when we stop searching for answers beyond this world, that's when we started taking responsibility for what's within it. We become the ones who must create justice, who must comfort the afflicted, who must repair what is broken. We become the ones who must love each other fiercely because we recognize just how fragile it is. In the end, this is not a loss. It is, as I said, perhaps the greatest gift of humanistic Judaism. Now, it would be dishonest of me to not acknowledge that many, many other Jews, Reform rabbis, even Orthodox rabbis, and many other people absolutely believe in the importance of taking on our own responsibility. They do not reject human responsibility. But I still believe that there is something about acknowledging the absence of God that really sharpens our sense of responsibility, that reminds us that we have to work this all out, that this is our will that is being performed, that this life, this one, is where our actions matter most, that this planet, this one, is where our children will live, that this community, these people, they are the ones we are here to care for. We alone. A God-shaped hole? I think not. There's no void in us. There is vision, a vision of human beings, frail, flawed, finite, who are nevertheless capable of creating meaning, building community, acting ethically, and facing reality without illusion. There's a vision of Judaism and of our people, connected not by a divine covenant, not by that kind of brit, but by a brit, a covenant amongst ourselves of shared memory, shared heritage, culture, and values. A vision of spiritual life, rooted not in obedience, but in conscience and compassion. Rabbi Wein wrote a great deal about the rewards of accepting reality. and I always like to share a bit of his wisdom. Reality, he wrote, is not always what we want it to be. We are not as strong as we want to be. We are not as smart as we want to be. We do not live as long as we want to live. Death, he wrote, is a painful fact we would prefer to avoid. Believing that we are immortal is an understandable temptation. But believing because we need to believe, he said, is without dignity. Self-respect requires the courage to face the facts and to live with them, he said. If we wish to be the rulers of our own lives, we cannot plead the weakness of those who prefer to be sheltered from the truth. This, he taught, is the courage to believe in human agency, in the capacity of humanity, not angels, not messiahs, to really fulfill the aspirations, the words voiced by our ancient prophets thousands of years ago. Learn to do good, seek justice, correct oppression, plead the cause of the weak. Let the oppressed go free, share your bread with the hungry, and teach these values diligently to your children when you rise up and when you lie down. We humanistic Jews are far from anti-religious. We are spiritually committed to the highest aspirations of religion: truth, justice, love, and awe. We are, as Rabbi Wein said, believers. As these high holidays, these days of awe remind us, these beliefs remind us that we are not alone. We are never alone, because we are here for one another, walking together with open minds, open hearts, this shared devotion to truth and to dignity I've spoken of, animated always by the things we affirm, not the things we reject. Ours is a profoundly spiritual and religious path, proud, honest, meaningful, filled with spiritual gifts. I invite us all to welcome this new year by walking the path of our spirituality together. May it be for us, for the Jewish people, and for the entire world, a Shana Tova Umituka, a sweet and happy new year. Thank you. And now, no, we don't do that. And now we're going to welcome our terrific musicians back. And I'm going to remind you that one way you can tell that Judaism evolved and was not created by a genius up above is that our holiday schedule is absolutely insane during the month of Tishrei. No architect of religion would have put this together. And if you come to some of my classes, I've explained how it actually evolved. We have now this holiday. Some are going to celebrate it again tomorrow. And then 9 days later, we're going to have Yom Kippur. And I hope you will all show up in these numbers again. And by the way, also those of you online, we get much larger numbers now online. We kind of give them an excuse to stay home. But it's usually good because usually they have a cold or something that we don't want to catch. But then a few days after that, it's Sukkot. And a few days after that, it's Simchat Torah. Who makes a holiday schedule like that? Well, we, in our own humanistic Jewish way, we follow it. So please look at the schedule. To come here for Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, well, that's one thing. But to show up for the Shabbat of Sukkot, when all of the children and young families are here, and you all come as well, and we have a wonderful dinner, a little bit of potluck, a little bit we provide. Yes, I think, Anne-Marie, is that true? And definitely, well, we haven't decided yet. And a sukkah that's just gorgeous, and the kids will decorate it that night. Well, that is a way to end this crazy, weird holiday season. Little Simchas Torah we do also. And so I hope you're there. And you guys are now seated, so I can stop babbling. Hi. I think I left my book over here. Where did I leave my book? You will tell me. Is there
closing song.
Our closing. Is there a reading before our closing song? Because I can't find my book.
Yes.
Somebody hand me a book. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I think there is. Yes! It's page 20. And it's an opportunity, as my rabbi used to call this the benediction, and it was very solemn. Benediction, a fancy word for blessing. This is our blessing for ourselves. So now at the close of this day's contemplation, let us declare together, Let the year upon which we entered be for us, our family, and our community, and for all the world, a year of blessing, of prosperity, of security and comfort, a year of health and contentment, a year of joy and celebration, a year of virtue and justice, a year that finds the hearts of parents united with the hearts of their children, a year of pardon and forgiveness, a year of peace, a year of life, as we go on our way. Shana Tova Mitzukah, sweet and happy New Year.
You still good to reverse the phone, right?
Why not? Thinking about it.
Just how you sleep for the week, right?
Right? Yeah. It'll be a long week, so yeah.
Yeah. Hey.
When is your trip?
Bye.
When is your trip to New York? We leave on the 8th. So weak after. Okay. You're doing it before, right? You're doing it before, right?
Yeah, I'll be there. I'm not playing the song, which is surprising.
Oh, we can do it right here? Okay. Let me get my music. Okay. All right, one more time. I'm ready now.